Porsche Cayenne Subaru Mitsubishi Lancer Evo by Makinen vs Subaru Impreza 22B. They hail from that 5-year spell from 1995 to the turn of the century, during which Subaru and Mitsubishi dominated the World Rally Championship. The Evo TME and Impreza 22B still capture a moment in time and preserve it in aspect. But is there more to these cars than a cloying, bobblehead and sentimentality? Box fresh examples of both. The best roads in the Peak District and a blessedly dry day in late January are all we need to tell us everything we want to know. First, the history lesson. Early in 1998, Subaru unveiled a limited edition version of the Impreza WRX, built to celebrate both the marque's 40th anniversary and its third straight WRC manufacturer's title. The 22B was built as the production version of Subaru's already iconic two-door World Rally car. With its swollen wheel arches, a high-rise rear spoiler and an 80mm increase in width, it was as close to Colin McRae's rally car as any normal puncher was ever going to get. It wasn't a homologation special but more of a road-going replica. Between March and August 1998, 422Bs were built for Japan, with just 16 manufactured for the UK and 5 for Australia. The UK cars were modified by Subaru's rally team, ProDrive, with a longer final drive, a mph speedometer and revised headlights. Before ProDrive could get around to registering those 16 cars in the UK, however, more than 50 resourceful Subaru devotees had imported cars from Japan. The 22 in the model's name referred to the engine capacity, which was increased from 1994cc to 2212cc. Officially, the turbocharged flat 4 developed to 76 bhp, but the actual figure almost certainly started with a 3. The B, meanwhile, stood for Bilstein, the damper supplier. At least, that's one explanation, whether by luck or judgment. 22B also happens to be the hexadecimal conversion for the number 555, the name of the cigarette brand that had long been Subaru's WRC sponsor. Other upgrades included a twin-plate clutch and 17-in wheels, up from the standard Impreza WRX's 16-in-1. The car cost a shade under £40,000 in period, or close to £70,000 in today's money. Little wonder most onlookers thought it a touch on the expensive side. Mitsubishi's retort followed in late 1999. With Finnish driver Tommi Makinen having wrapped up a 4th straight WRC driver's title, Mitsubishi launched a limited edition Evo to celebrate. Over a standard Evo it got a lighter and faster responding titanium turbo compressor, a lower ride height, a front strut brace and quicker steering. Many of the key components came from top-line suppliers, such as the Momo steering wheel, Enkei wheels, Brembo brakes and Recaro seats embossed with Makinen's name. Over the 2 years the TME was on sale, more than 3,000 were built, making it much more common than the 22B. Perhaps that's why you'll pay twice as much like for the Subaru today. A low-mileage 22B will fetch 6 figures in the current market. At £31,000 new, the TME was more affordable than the Gold Dust Impreza, too, and whereas the 22B was available in Sonic Blue or not at all, the Makinen was offered in white, blue, black, silver or, as here, in red with rally-inspired decals. Officially, 250 came to the UK. On a bitterly cold Tuesday morning, long before sunrise, the Evo's engine fires to a noisy, busy idle. With the fluid in the dampers moving around like cement in a mixer at this chilly pre-dawn hour, the low-speed ride is tough and unyielding. The whole car drops heavily at one corner and then the next as you thud through potholes and over sunken drain covers, the entire structure rattling in protest. With some warmth in the fluid, the ride does settle, but the real change comes with speed. Beyond 50 miles per hour or so, the car starts to plane and seems to levitate half an inch above the road. Rather than crashing and banging across the surface, it glides, all of a sudden becoming so wonderfully pliant and forgiving that you'd swear the suspension had been replaced wholesale somewhere between 3rd and 4th gear. Over a bucking, rollicking moorland road, The impression you get is of a body staying calm and composed as the suspension underneath works frantically to allow the wheels to rise quickly and fall in an instant. Suspension arms nothing less than a blur. Unnatural features in the road surface do shunt their way through to the body. But all of the natural shape and texture that you get in the road by laying tarmac over a soggy moor is dealt with masterfully. You wouldn't need to read the TME sales brochure to know its suspension had been tuned for a tarmac rally stage. When the road spears across the hillside rather than twisting and turning over it and you get into 4th and 5th gears, the Evo feels edgy. The chassis has such a hyper-agility about it that you constantly nudge the steering wheel this way and that just to keep it in a straight line. The car is so desperate to turn into corners that it tries to do so even where there isn't one. It means that the TME will carry huge speed into a bend before it starts to push on, snapping into direction changes like a terrier chasing scents. The limit of front-end grip is so well telegraphed that you hang the car right on the edge of understeer corner after corner, and although the steering does have a strange springiness to it right around the straight ahead, it actually becomes brilliantly crisp and detailed with a few more degrees of lock. On dry Peak District roads, you'd never know much was going on in the rear differential. On a wet or low grip surface, you'd feel the active yaw control shuffling torque here and there, but today it just seems as though the car has infinite drive and traction. The gear shift couldn't be better, and with 5 very tightly stacked ratios you bang through them like Manny Pacquiao throwing combinations. The car feels punchy on a wide open throttle. Nothing much happens until 3,000 revolutions per minute, but from there the motor rips around to 7,000 revolutions per minute with a free revving energy. There's no doubt about it, the Tommy Makinen edition is a very special car. Parked alongside the Impreza, though, it looks less exotic. That two-door Impreza shape will always be so evocative, even more so with the 22B's pumped-up arches. The Subaru has the much better seating position too. You sit lower, with the steering wheel presented to you within closer reach and at a more natural angle. The seats, meanwhile, wrap around your sides like a bear hug. You instantly feel connected to the car. Like the Evo, it rides stiffly at low and medium speeds, perhaps a little less so, but it too is transformed at around 50 miles per hour to become brilliantly fluid and composed. There's none of that straight-ahead steering stiction that troubles the TME. In fact, the 22B steers beautifully. It's quicker rack. There's a small sticker at the base of the rear window that reads "Quick Steering" is perfectly suited to the rest of the chassis, which means you place the car with precision at every turn. Whereas the Mitsubishi lives on its front end, the Subaru always feels more neutral. Turn into a corner and it instantly works both axles, leaving you suspended sweetly between them. It's an addictive sensation, and I don't think I'd ever get bored with adjusting the center differential torque split using the dial in the center console. With 10% more displacement, the 22B's engine instantly feels more muscular than the Evo's. In fact, the mid-range is almost unnervingly strong, flinging the car up the road as though it's been shot from a cannon. With the red line set at 7,900 revolutions per minute, the Impreza's engine keeps on spinning willingly at the point where the Evo's is crashing into its limiter. Subarus claim that this car had 276 bhp and period is a colossal fib. By a cigarette paper, I prefer the Subaru, but that might be a legacy of having been a McRae and Richard Burns fan rather than a Makinen supporter back in the day. Objectively, there's little between them. And while that nostalgic rally connection is undoubtedly a large part of the appeal of these cars, it isn't the whole story. What's more significant still is that the Tommy Makinen edition and 22B steer really are the Mitsubishi Evo and Subaru Impreza at their very best. The company, based near Manchester, was established primarily to run Spencer's own ex-Peter Solberg Impreza World Rally car, but he says, as a business, it needed to make money. So we also build and prepare rally cars for other competitors, as well as servicing and tuning road cars, mobile sport LM2 bus UV.